Namaste. Welcome to Sakshi, Manasakshi. I am Priya Goteti and you're watching Spiritual Awakening. Matudevo Bhava, Pitudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. In our tradition, we equate teachers to God. Today we are discussing the most important topic and interesting topic, that is the teachings of Acharya. And to discuss that, we have a special guest who is warm and gentle philanthropist Sanjay Kumar Garu, and who is also popularly known as Sarvajay Madhav Prabhuji, CEO of Tanmayi Group of Jewelers and Tanmayi Group of Companies. Namaste, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Priya, for the introduction. And I know this is your first day. Welcome on board. I have given a lot of interviews so far, and I'm happy to continue with you. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure.
So, should we start with the prayers?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Namo Vishwadaya Krishna Bhudale Shimate Javatak Samiti Namne Namo Acharya Padaya Nithaya Kripa Padayane Gauragata Damadaya Nagar Gramatarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Padaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschata Desitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangun Langaye Tegrim Yat Kripa Tamamunde Shiv Gurudinitarinam Paramananda Madhum Shri Chaitanya Shivam Hari Om Tasat. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for giving me opportunity to speak on the transcendental subjects. I'm not qualified. My only qualification is I'm going to repeat whatever is written in the scriptures, and I'll try to repeat as it is without making a lot of changes in the context. So I'm sorry that I missed few weeks. I've been a little busy, and I apologize to you for missing some weeks of this wonderful event. I will try to do every week from now onwards with all of your blessings and Krishna's blessings. Thank you so much.
So actually, Prabhuji, what is the importance of Acharya?
An Acharya is a teacher of Vedic knowledge. He imparts the teachings of the Shastras and himself lives by those teachings. This is very important to understand. Acharya is not one who's just giving some knowledge, but he is practicing that too. The care of the Vedic parampara, the passing down of Vedic knowledge, has always been assigned to Acharyas. Therefore, they are personal representatives of that knowledge. We'll start with Shankaracharya, Shankaraji. Shankara, the age AD 788 to 820 was the period of dear Shankaracharya. He was a Shaivite, followers of Lord Shiva, born in an orthodox South Indian Brahmana family. When still a young boy, he became an ascetic, and it appears compiled two major works, Viveka Chintamani and Sharira Bhashya. He traveled widely in India and died in Himalayas at age 32. Very young age he passed, but he did phenomenal services. At the time Shankara appeared, Buddhism had received the patronage of the Indian Emperor Ashoka and had thus spread throughout India. Shankara sought to reform and purify religious life by reasserting the authority of Vedic scriptures. Shankara's interpretation of Vedic literature is known as Advaita Vedanta. He taught that the jivas means living beings or living entities, are themselves the absolute truth, Parabrahma. And ultimately, there is no variety, individuality, or personality in spiritual existence. Shankaracharya is saying that there is no difference between God and living beings. They are all one. Aham Brahmasmi. The jiva is Paramatma.
Yes.
Both the supreme being and the jiva is false. Shankara's philosophy is sometimes considered as a compromise between theism and atheism, since it would have been impossible to restore the Vedic literature's theistic conception just after the Buddhist complete atheism. So Lord Buddha actually rejected everything, all the Vedas. He literally rejected all the Vedas. So from that position, now Shankara has to slowly revive one step at a time. Hence, it was a combination of theist and atheist. Then came Ramanujacharya. AD 1017, 1137, was a South Indian Brahmana who taught and traveled widely. For a time, he was the chief priest of the Vaishnava temple of Sri Ranga in the southern India. He wrote three major commentaries: Vedanta Sangraha on the Vedas, Sri Bhashya on Vedanta Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita Bhashya on the Bhagavad Gita. He is the best known for his strong presentation of Vaishnavism and for his opposition to the impersonal monism of Shankara. Ramanuja expounded Vishishta Advaita, or qualified non-dualism. He taught that there is a difference between Parabrahman, Supreme Brahman, and the Jivas. So Parabrahman is also called Supreme Brahman. So there is a difference between Parabrahman and the Jivas. And there is a loving relationship between the Supreme and the Jivas. His qualified oneness shows that the Absolute includes both what is changing, the material world and the Jivas, and what is changeless, the transcendental Lord. Ramanuja taught that through God's grace, the Jiva can transcend the material world and attain the eternal abode of Vishnu. This is very powerful. We can actually reach to the Vishnu Loka with this Jiva life, what we have. Madhava is the next. So we've covered Shankara, we covered Ramanuja, now came Madhava.
Throughout our culture, we have different acharyas. So we have like difference in the preachings, Prabhuji.
In different standards of our classes, when we go to school, the topics discussed is different level. They, on a fifth standard, they won't talk subject of college, correct? So
Yes.
you slowly take children up. First you teach them ABCD, then you teach them grammar, multiplications. So one step at a time, you gradually take the student to higher stages. We are all in a big school of Lord Krishna. He's our well-wisher, the topmost well-wisher, Krishna. He wants to make sure that his children gradually come to a stage where they can understand who is Supreme Personality of God is, what is the purpose of life, and how we can get out of this birth, death, old age, and disease, the suffering of this material world. So, at the time before Buddha, there was a lot of killing of cows and animals, and there was chaotic. The whole world was in chaos. People were killing on the name of Dharma. So Lord has to send Buddha. He actually came in the form of Buddha, and he rejected Vedas. He said, on the name of Vedas, you're doing all kind of nonsense. Let me just reject Veda. First job is to stop the problem. So what Buddha did, he stopped the killing of animals and killing of innocent, even animals are Krishna's children. So by rejecting Vedas, he stopped. Now Vedas are actually very nice. Vedas are powerful knowledge. So now we have to slowly bring the essence of Vedas out. So what Lord did, he sent Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya came and he told to all these people who are misusing the Vedas because of the Buddha time, Shankaracharya came and told, oh, you are God, you are equal to God. So you should come to spirituality, you should read scriptures, you should be devotee of God, and you yourself are God. So people who are completely in a misused way, you have somehow brought them to a little better way and little inclined towards God by pampering them. That's one way he supported the population, the Krishna's children. So he gave one stage. People felt very happy. If I tell you you are like equal to God, you will like to hear more. You will make me sit next to you and want to hear more. That's what the role was of Shankaracharya. And because they're all acharyas representing the Lord in their different roles, one thing we should remember, even though Shankaracharya said that God and Jiva is same, but there is a song he sang, there is a sloka, what he used to utter at the end. And he says, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Mudamate. So he told everybody, like he said everything, he brought them in, but he gave the secret that sing Govinda's name, chant the holy names of the Lord is what he told. So he gave the secret. So those who understood, they understood that we have to bhaj Govinda. Govinda is Krishna, right? So he did give that information directly and indirectly, in a way indirectly, but in a way, if you really look at it, is directly told, Bhajagovinda, Bhajagovinda, Bhajagovinda Mudumade. Why are you wasting your life reading all these things, understanding all these things? Just utter the holy name of the Lord. That will give you everything. That's what he told in the end. Then after the Ramanujacharya came, and then he took one more stage up. So he took the students one more stage up. Then he said, God is there, Super Brahman is there, and we are also there, Jiva. There are two. They have some kind of, difference. It's not, they're both one. Like you're not God, you are Jiva, and there is Supreme Brahman also. So Ramanujacharya took one more step ahead. He taught us the difference between how God is superior to us. Then comes Madhava, which we are going to read now. So once you read about Madhvacharya, what he says, then we'll have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then you'll understand the full picture. But at least up to here, hope you understood.
Yeah, got it.
Correct? Okay, let's go to Madhava. So like Ramanuja, Madhava, AD 1239 to 1319, belonged to Vaishnava tradition and devoted himself to combating Shankara's impersonal philosophy. Madhvacharya's Purna Prajana Bhashya establishes a type of Vedanta philosophy called Shuddha Dvaita, pure dualism. In his teachings, he describes three entities. So remember, Ramanujacharya, first Shankaracharya, oneness, Ramanujacharya, dualism. Now Madhvacharya, he's saying three. And if you really understand this, this is a gradual procession. They're not actually totally rejecting anything. They're just improving on the previous acharyas, right? So in his teachings, he describes three entities: the Supreme Lord, the Jiva, and the material world. Isn't it correct? It makes more sense, right? There is God, there is all the Jivas, and there is material world. Even more emphatically than Ramanuja, Madhava maintained that God and the Jivas are eternally distinct. He held that the Lord is transcendental to the material world, which is a product of his inferior energy. At the same time, the Jivas are also distinct from matter, for they are superior, spiritual energy of the Lord. A few days back, we had snowstorms in Dallas, in Texas. Usually Texas, we don't get to see this kind of severe weather. We had that, we went through that. There was total shutdown, no power, no water. A lot of people suffered, a lot of people died. It was horrible. Imagine just a snowstorm in Dallas, in Texas area, disturbed the whole life of everybody. So tsunami, COVID, look at the things happening, the natural calamities, the weather. We are not independent. We are dependent on nature. We are dependent on Mother Nature. We are dependent on God. We have to always remember that we are dependent. We are not independent. So God is supreme, and we are also minor supreme because we have God has given us some independence, but at the same time we are not supreme personality of Godhead. Supreme personality of Godhead has no comparison with his opulences and his qualities and his strength. We are limited, we are minute. And material world, you can understand, there is a stage what material world can do. The creation, the earth, all this, trees, plants, what do you see on the planet? When you compare to them, Jivas are little superior. And then God is superior to Jivas. This is the understanding what Madhvacharya gave, which is much clear understanding is what I see. If you look at it, it's very clear, correct? Now comes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. Now we have like one entity. That Shankaracharya said that Aham Brahmasmi, and then it was Ramanujan saying that we are two entities, Jiva and Paramatma are different. Then Madhvacharya said that we are better than the materialistic world or the nature, but we are inferior to Lord, and we are not like three different entities. So I just wanted to know like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Acharya's philosophy was.
Super. So let's explore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. So in the late 16th century, with the advent of Krishna Chaitanya in Bengal, Ramanuja's and Madhava's theistic philosophy of Vaishnavism, worship of Vishnu or Bhagwan, reached its climax. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva completed the progression to devotional atheism. Ramanuja had agreed with Shankara that the absolute is one only, but disagreed by affirming individual variety within that oneness. Madhava had underscored the eternal duality of the Supreme and the Jiva. He had maintained that this duality endures even after liberation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in turn, specified that the Supreme and the Jiva are inconceivably simultaneously one and different, and that is called Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. They were equal in quality but not in quantity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, AD 1486-1534, was born in Navdeep, Bengal. He took the renounced order at the age of 24. His spiritual master, Ishwara Puri, was a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, who came in the line of Madhva. His immediate followers, the six Goswamis, Rupa, Sanatana, Jiva, Gopala Bhatta, Raghunatha Bhatta, and Raghunatha Dasa, compiled extensive literatures and thus documented Lord Chaitanya's philosophy according to Vedic evidence. Himself, Lord Chaitanya, wrote only 8 verses on the ecstasy of devotion to Krishna. His disciples understood Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be Bhagavan Krishna himself in the form of a devotee. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just to tell you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came recently, right, 500 years ago. So now the 3 acharyas have given some information, and now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the final conclusion of this whole Vedic knowledge. And he's saying that there is some similarity between Jiva and Paramatma. There is oneness in some sense, and there is no comparison in some sense. Quality-wise, we are equal to God. Like, for example, I'll just give you an idea. I can lift a glass of bottle, a water bottle, or I can lift a small book. I can speak, I can dance, I have some knowledge, I can do some things, right? God also can do things, but the difference is I can only do in my limited capacity.
Okay.
I cannot lift a mountain. I can lift something. I can lift, maybe some people can lift even 400 kg, I guess. Weight 400 pounds weight, a lot more than their body weight. They can lift. So the lifting ability is there in us and in God also. But what God lifts, He lifts the whole Parvat, Govardhan Parvat, in the pinky finger of left finger, pinky finger. He just lifts like this. Can you do that? No. So if you really analyze, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us is a clarity. Yes, we are made in the image of God. Yes, there is quality similarities there. God has some qualities, we have some qualities. Quality-wise, we are alike. But quantity-wise, there is no comparison. A small drop of ocean is another example given by Srila Prabhupada. If you take some water, like drop of water from the ocean, and go and test in the lab, you will find some quality. It will be salty, it will be liquid, there will be some minerals, some vitamins. They will do all the research and they can give you some idea what is ocean quality, what kind of ocean water is there. The whole ocean quality you can tell by a drop of ocean water, maybe a little bit more drops. So the idea is we are also like that. Krishna is ocean, we are maybe a drop of the ocean. So we have same quality, but imagine if a drop falls on your head, what will happen to you? Anything happen? Nothing. But what if whole ocean falls on your head? What will happen?
I'll die.
Tsunami will come. It will sweep away everything, including the whole earth. So that is the difference between That is how you understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, that we have some kind of oneness with God, but at the same time, there's a huge difference between the quantity wise, there's a huge difference. Quality wise, we might be same, but quantity wise, there's no comparison. God can do many things, right? So this is how we should understand. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually Krishna himself. So Krishna, when he came, Mahabharata time, Dwapar Yuga, he gave the knowledge to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, and he said, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam praja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami masucha. This is, he gave a lot of knowledge in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the best book on the planet with full knowledge about life, jiva, prakriti, everything is covered in that, time and activity. And Krishna told Arjuna, after giving all the knowledge about karma and all the stuff, soul, then he said, forget about everything. Just surrender to me. Do everything for me. I will forgive you for all your sins. I'll give you liberation. And he said, do not fear. Krishna openly told. But many people didn't know how to surrender. Krishna told to surrender, right? Give everything, just surrender to me. I'll take care of you. I'll take you home. That's what Krishna told. But that message, even though we heard from Bhagavad Gita, that particular sloka has been repeated maybe millions of times, and most of the acharyas have used that sloka again and again and again and again. Very famous sloka from Bhagavad Gita. But unfortunately, a lot of us, in spite of hearing it so many times, we really don't know how to surrender. What is surrender? How do we surrender? What does it mean by surrender? We don't know. Even today, a lot of people don't know. So now, God, as a true well-wisher of his children, he has to figure out a way to train us how to surrender. And think about it. Who else can taught us how to surrender better than God himself? Right? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in form of a devotee. And among devotee, the topmost devotee is our dear mother, our dear divine mother, Radharani. She's the topmost devotee according to acharyas, according to scriptures. Because her mood is to serve Krishna. Her only desire is to please Krishna, serve Krishna all the time. Her mood is topmost. She's our divine mother, everybody's mother, supreme mother. So, because Krishna, you can actually bond Krishna with unalloyed love, unconditional love. You cannot bond Krishna with some kind of bribery, with money, for some gifts and all this. No, it's not possible. Because he's Aham Brahmas, he's the master of everything. He owns everything. So when he owns everything, what you can give him and impress him? You cannot, right? Aham Sarvasya Prabhu is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. I'm the master of everything. Everybody's under me. So the only way you can conquer Krishna is with love and service, unconditional love. And Radharani has done that already. So now Krishna has to come in the form of a devotee. So he's going to pick the best devotee in the whole creation. Who's the best devotee? Radharani, Mother Radharani. So when we have that, so Krishna, what he decided, he said, okay, let me come in the mood of Radharani and teach everybody what is devotional service. I'll share one more secret. This is not the time, but let me share a secret. One other secret why he came. When Krishna comes, he has multiple reasons to come. One other secret he wanted to come is, there is a story where once Krishna went to Dwarka, and Rukminiji, his palace, Rukminiji was there, and the Rukminiji told Krishna, Krishna, you know what? You know everything, but you know one thing you don't know. And Krishna was like scratching his head. Nobody ever told Krishna that he does not know something. Like he's God, right? He knows everything. Like this is the first time he's hearing something like this, that you don't know something. So Krishna says, what is that? He says, you know what is Brahma is doing in Brahmaloka. You know what Lord Shiva is doing in Shivaloka. You know all those things. You know what everybody else is doing in the different planets. But you don't know how a devotee feels about you. How a Radharani feels, how I feel, how your devotees feel when we love you, that you don't know. because you are in the receiving end. You are receiving our love. You're not giving love. You're taking love. So you don't know how we feel when we give love. And Krishna said, that's a point. That's a very valid point. That's something missing. And then he said, okay, in my next incarnation, I will come in the form of a devotee, and I would like to understand how devotee feels loving me, Krishna. So now he has to pick the best devotee, right? How they feel. And who is the best devotee? Radharani. Actually, Acharyas have told, serving Krishna, Radharani gets more pleasure by taking care of Krishna, feeding Krishna, facilitating Krishna's Leela than Krishna. Like everybody is attracted with Krishna, Krishna is attracted by Radharani. So, Madana Mohana Mohini, right? Krishna is called Madan Mohan. Madan Mohan means one who attracts even the Cupid. But Radharani, Mother Radharani, even attracts Krishna. So, Madana Mohana Mohini. So, imagine the position of Radharani. So, now if Krishna has to come like a devotee, he has to pick the best devotee, and best devotee is Radharani. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also called Gauranga. Gauranga means golden, right? Golden complexion. So Radharani is golden color. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in golden complexion in combination of Krishna and Radharani together. And there is one temple getting built for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu right now. It's one of the biggest temple in the world. You all can go and check it out. It's called TOVP.org, Temple of Vedic Planetarium. It's a temple and Vedic planetarium. Amazing project happening 3 hours north of Calcutta, in West Bengal, in Navadip Dham, the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. A few years ago, there was a 500th birthday celebration of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even Narendra Modi ji has attended the event, and he praised Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a lot. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, many people don't know, but many those who know, they know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna and Radha combined form. He's Lord himself. He has done so many leelas, and in all the leelas he has showed that how he himself is Krishna, he himself is Ram, and he has come to give us the highest benefit, and that is Krishna Prema, which is very difficult to get. Like getting Krishna Prema there's nothing above that you need. Once you have, imagine if a richest person on the planet, most powerful person on the planet accepts you as his person, like adopts you, imagine. What will happen to you? Do you need anything more than that on this planet? No, right? Similarly, Krishna Prema, if you get Krishna Prema, that means Krishna loved you and you love Krishna and Krishna loving you. After that, there is nothing else needed. We don't need anything else. This is the highest what anybody can ever, imagine. Surrender to Krishna and Krishna taking care of you is an inferior stage actually. So what Krishna himself did in Bhagavad Gita, he told that I'll take care of you, surrender to me. But he was not giving prema. He was giving protection, but not prema. Like protection is at one level. Prema is a totally different level. In prema comes protection automatically, right? A mother loves his child, so mother protects the child, mother cares the child, mother loves the child, everything comes. But a security guard might be just protecting. Of course, I'm not comparing Krishna with security guard, because Krishna's ultimate goal is to connect us, to gradually take us to the love stage. And that's the reason why he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and give us the highest gift, which is love of Krishna. And what he told, you don't need to surrender also. Just chant the holy name of the Lord. Just chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has invested all the energy in this Mahamantra. And he told people, just chant this Mahamantra and you will get liberation. You will go back to home. You will be happy. You will be happy on this planet, and after you leave this planet, you will be happy on other planets. What to speak of you? Your 14 generations, 7 before you, 7 after you, will also get benefit by just chanting the holy name of Krishna. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. And my personal take home thing from this whole class today, the scriptures, what we're discussing is we might listen to our father, we might listen to our uncle, we might listen to our neighbor, we might listen to some celebrity or somebody who we are impressed with, or who we want to follow, like a mentor or somebody. And we benefit. We definitely benefit from it. People have a lot of people have mentors and they take guidance and they benefit. Here we are talking about God Himself coming as a mentor, as our guide, and He Himself is telling us what is best for us. So don't you think we should accept this? What are we going to lose? And what is He going to gain from us by giving us information which is purely for our beneficial?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I think today we got to learn a lot about teachings of Acharyas and different Vedanta philosophies. And thank you so much once again, Prabhuji, for explaining us all the different concepts of these Vedanta philosophies and helping us and understanding and making us to understand the different teachings of Acharyas. This is Priya Koteti and signing off. You're watching Sakshi Manasakshi.